and my older one. Okay. Anyways, I'm Sangeeta, and I've been doing these coffee chats for about 4 years, and I have two children. And my last one actually graduated from Penn High 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago now. So I wanted to get started. Thank you everyone for joining us. We're really great and happy to have College Career Center on with us. Just a quick little brief summary for them. Mrs. Arico and Mrs. Shafer both have 3 children that graduated from Penn High between 2012 and 2020 and have recent college graduates and 2 still in college. Maybe that could have changed from last year. I'll let you update that. Both have 10 plus years in private sector business. They have been working in the College Career Center for over 5 years and are members of the Western Association of College Admission Counselors and the National Association of College Admission Counselors. I am going to turn it over to both of you for a presentation, and then we'll get into the Q&A after that. And for this portion of it, we are taping it for the presentation part.
Great. Well, thank you for having us, and we're so happy to be here today. Just a little bit more about Nancy and I. We have only one. I have one left in college. Nancy is doing the happy dance of no more tuition, children employed, and letting them spread their wings and fly. And I am counting down the days. My youngest graduates on May 11th. So I'm very excited too. So he'll be graduating from Westminster University in Salt Lake City. So I'm very excited for him. We've also been participants and leaders in PTSA at the schools and with 33rd, not me, Nancy, and with council. So we have a lot of experience with PTSA as well. But most importantly, we're moms. And one of the things that we do here, and Nancy, jump in anytime, is we are here to help kids, your kids, all the kids here, kind of figure out what they want to do with life. It does not have to be college, even though college is in our name, career is also. So we talk to kids about careers, colleges, the importance of being flexible, that what their decision is today does not have to be their decision tomorrow. We try to help them think about things a little differently. We try to get them to open up their minds. The bottom line, these kids are 14 to 18, 19 years old. It's hard to make one decision that they think is going to change the direction of their life forever. So what we are always trying to provide to them is, yes, this is your first step. It is your first major decision, first, college or not. Second, maybe what type of career you want to explore. And then additionally, that you can always change your mind. There are plenty of people that transfer, change majors, drop out of college. I know parents don't want to hear that, but there are kids that do that and successfully change to something that is more meaningful or helpful or healthy for them. So those are kind of the things we always have in the back of our minds when we are talking to kids. But primarily being in Palos Verdes, most of our kids do go to college. That is the truth. So we are here to kind of educate parents and teachers and students, most especially, about what are those options that they have. From freshman to junior year, we're trying to provide events that give them those options or make them aware of those options. And senior year, and even right now, I'm starting to meet with juniors about what are their lists or what should they thinking about as they put together their list. Sometimes even what am I even going to say about myself? One of the things kids really struggle with is their essay. I'm sure all of you know, because they think they're boring because they've been living their life. They don't understand that some little small thing, some little small spark in their life could be meaningful enough to make an impact on somebody reading their essay when they apply to college. So we're here to kind of help them with all of those things. And then Nancy, thank goodness we have her, helps with more of that financial aid part. And I'm going to let Nancy talk about that.
Okay, yeah. So I talk mostly to seniors, but juniors as well. Just talking about, the cost of college, how can we help them make it more affordable? what are some of the options from community college to, four-year college to technical careers, and how much, that cost. Tonight, we're doing a FAFSA workshop for seniors, and, we talk about how to fill out that free application for federal student aid. So yeah, and local scholarships. We have a lot of local scholarships that that community partners want to tell our kids about. So we load those up on school links. And then at the end of the year, we have a scholarship recognition event for those seniors who have received some of those community scholarships. That's me.
Okay, so some of the things that we do, we think of our year a little bit differently than everyone else here. Our year kind of starts in January with second semester juniors. That's kind of when they're really kind of thinking and really ready to be thinking about college. But every offering that we have here and that we provide in the CCC is open to all students, except college rep visits. I will have to caveat that. That really is strictly only for juniors and seniors, and we can't deviate from that because we're asking them to be out of class. So that's why it's only juniors and seniors. But just to put it in perspective of how we kind of think of our year, we did our career exploration seminar last week. I'm sorry, that was only a week ago. And then next week is our big college fair. So we have about 50 colleges that are coming this year to talk to kids. This, we really encourage freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and sometimes even seniors that applied to some of these schools and still have to make final decisions. This might be the last time they have a face-to-face with the admissions rep that they can ask any last minute questions they might have, because when those acceptances come in for the seniors, it's fast and furious. They got to make decisions. And every year, April 30th at 3:34 and sometimes 4:30, I have a student in here saying, I got to make my decision. What do I do? And even the morning of May 1st and 2nd, I have those last few stragglers still struggling. So it really isn't up to the minute. So I do encourage seniors to come if some of their schools on their list are here, because like I said, it is a last minute opportunity for them to talk or just even be swayed in the smallest way. It's amazing what small thing could happen. But it is really geared towards juniors, sophomores, and freshmen to really start figuring out what are colleges for freshmen. What are they? What does it mean? How does this whole thing work? A lot of times they walk around a little bit lost, and that's okay. It's all right for them to listen into the other conversations, hear what other people are asking. Sophomores might start asking questions and participating a little bit more, asking things about their interests and majors that might be available at that university. And juniors are really starting to think about the realities of putting that college on their list or not. Is it the right college? Do they have the social fit, the academic fit, and the financial fit for them? What are some of those scholarships that might be available? What is their financial aid? Where do the kids live? Getting more nitty gritty into some of those. And yes, that information can be available on their website, but when you talk to someone about it, you get a lot of the little details that you miss out on. So that's why the college fair can be really important. We also will have, sorry, I'm thinking about our calendar. We have a community college and transfer process for juniors and seniors. That's next month. I really truly believe that students keep all options open as long as possible. That is my goal for my students. I want them to be able to make a good decision, and part of that is keeping options open. And by that, I mean, every student should be considering thinking about community college no matter what. If nothing else, the class of 2020 taught us, when you're prepared, the kids that were already ready to go to community college when COVID hit and it felt like their life was upside down and they were making some truly struggling with lifelong decisions. They had no idea what was going on. They went away for 2 weeks and never came back to school, never had their graduation. And they had to make decisions of, do I sign up for a school that I don't even know will be open? So community college and having those conversations really allowed them to, put off the decision, be able to make a well-informed decision up to the day before a lot of them left for school, August, September, and even October. So I really do believe kids should be constantly looking at community college for financial reasons, maturity reasons, academic prep reasons. There are a million reasons kids can go to community college. And honestly, El Camino is our #1 school that kids attend, and it's about 60 kids a year. So a lot of kids do take advantage of that. So we have that in February, and then in March we're going to have our spring college night. Spring college night in this it's a little bit different from fall in that we don't have a keynote speaker. We just have presentations. Some of the presentations we're looking into, we currently have a senior who has this incredible way that she organized the whole process. And I'm asking her to share that with other students and parents. So that's going to be one. We're going to talk about how to start that essay. What's that spark? Where do you find that? And what do you write about? So that's going to be one of our sessions. Financial aid is always important. We're going to talk about digital SAT, just started. What does that mean for all the students? That is the only option now. And now that that's happening, what is that landscape and where is that going towards? So we'll have one test under our belt. And so we will have a discussion about that. And then we're also going to have, how to put together the list. And I'm sure I know there's 2 more that I'm missing, but those are just some of those sessions that we'll have. So that will get the juniors kind of started thinking, but also it's for, like I said, freshmen and sophomore, it's not too early for them to start listening. They don't have to make decisions, but the more information they have, the better prepared they are to talk about it. And even if it's repetitive, it can reinforce the knowledge that they already have or the ideas they already have. So I think it's always great if your kids are available to come. And for parents, you're part of this journey. You need to be educated and know what they're thinking. So that's important as well. And then this year I am able to do a kind of a college application jumpstart, we'll call it that, the week after the kids are out of school. And that will be 5 days. My hope, because I don't have final confirmation from speakers, but we'll be working on their resume, which is important. What's important to highlight? What's important to put on that application? What are the most important things? How do you put it out there? What's the best way to word it? We'll be talking about their essays and getting those started. And more importantly, and probably most importantly, the college list. A lot of times we kind of gloss over like, oh yeah, just add this one, just add that one. But there's costs associated to doing that. There's sometimes if students get lots of no's, that doesn't help them. Making sure they really have a truly balanced list of schools they want to attend is really, really important. And I cannot stress enough how important that is and how important it is for parents to support kids in that without constantly saying, oh, just add the school. It's a click of a button. Yeah, just add UCLA. Well, do you really want your kid to get one more now? I mean, does that really help them? Are they really truly in the running for even being accepted? There are some kids that should have that on their list or it's not that far of a reach. But when a kid has a 3.2 and they're applying to Harvard, that's probably not going to happen. That's just the reality. And I really struggle with kids and trying to make them realize like sometimes no's at that time of your life are not what you want. I want to make sure they have yeses. I want to make sure they have options. So those are kind of where we have our back half. And then for the next semester, which is fall semester, we start with college rep visits. And those are really important for our juniors to kind of dip their toe sometimes into talking to college reps, but it's really for seniors also, especially if they have those colleges on their list. Those are often the reps that are reading their application. There's always a group. It's usually a group format. Several people will read the application, but the admissions rep that we have at our school is usually on that team. So it's good to make that connection and just kind of get to know them a little bit. It doesn't mean that that is going to be the way they get in, but it doesn't hurt them. So if they can miss class, and I use the big word if it's not too much of pressure on them, they're not missing a test, absolutely not miss tests. But if they are busy and want to be here and they let me know, I always tell the rep, hey, the student couldn't be here. Or I ask the student, hey, can you come before or after? Sometimes I can make them stay a couple minutes. Sometimes they're a couple minutes early. And we've done that every year. I have many kids that do that, and they'll just come and shake their hand. And sometimes, it just makes the rep realize, oh, this is a human. And the student gets to say, hey, I'm here. I'm really interested in your school. So that is our rep visits. They only happen September, October. Those are only for juniors and seniors. They are only for students. They are during the school day. And there is a process and a procedure for participating. The kids know it, but we tell them every year they have to get permission from their teacher and they have to sign up for it. So we know that they're coming. If we don't have any signups for a rep, we cancel it the day before. And I can't tell you, every year there's always a handful of kids that show up for a rep meeting. And I said, you didn't sign up. You didn't give me your teacher permission slip. And so we had to say, thank you, but don't come. So they don't come. So we are trying to be respectful of our admissions reps' time. And so that's one of the reasons we have those procedures in place. And then we have our fall college night, which is more general information, but things kids need to know about. They need to know about out-of-state options. They need to know about UCs and Cal States. They need to understand the difference between private and public. So those are the types of presentations we have for fall. And we usually have our keynote speaker is usually the Dean of Admissions from University of Southern California. And he gives us kind of the, hey, this is the layout of what's going on in the college admissions world. And then we also have, what else do we have? Oh, financial aid nights. We have several financial aid nights, which Nancy can get into all that nitty gritty. And we'll have a general community college information night also in the fall. I think those are the big things that we have. And then just so you guys know, we use School Links. That is our college career readiness program. We don't require students to share it with their parents, but we let you guys know. You can ask your kids for the code. The directions are on the CCC website of what to ask your kids and how to get it. And it's easy for you to be on there and recommend schools for them and to search and help them out, because without your support, it's just completely daunting. So I think that's it. Nancy, do you want to talk about your financial aid nights?
Yeah, so in the fall, we have a broad strokes financial aid at college night. It's just a quick 45 minutes. And then we have a longer seminar that's called Paying for College. And we talk about, what the college costs are, how you find out what colleges want for financial aid, and what that process is, how to find scholarships. So we do that in October. And then in a normal year, FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid, opens in October. And we'll have a step-by-step somewhere either before it opens or usually just after it opens. And sometimes we'll have a second one. And then at the end of the school year, so this year it will be March 6th, for seniors, I have Understanding the Financial Aid Letter. So when a student applies for financial aid, they'll get a letter from the college saying, we would like to give you this amount of money. This is how much you're eligible for in loans. This is, hopefully they say this is the bottom line, what you owe us. Sometimes they don't. College letters all have very different formats. There's no standard. And sometimes they are super hard to understand. So we go through a short presentation. We try to keep it at about an hour, talking about, the different ways schools give out that information. And then Julie and I also like to talk to parents a little bit as parents that have sent kids off to college about sort of what you can expect as your freshman from the summer going into your freshman year, what some of the hidden costs are, and thinking about, leasing apartments and what does that mean on your family finances, and just some helpful hints that we like to give. So that's this year in March, and I do that every spring. And that's it, right?
Perfect. Thank you both. Maybe, I mean, you touched on a lot of the questions that were submitted ahead of time, Julie, but I'm just gonna, in case those parents are present, we did ask for questions ahead of time. I'm just gonna run through it, and if we've already answered it, please just kind of say we've already answered it, and that's fine, unless people have follow-up questions later. The first one was, I was wondering if the school will hold a college application essay writing workshop over the summer. And if so, what are the dates? I know you mentioned something about what you're doing, but I don't know if this is about the summer school, the one that Kelly runs. So I don't know which one they're talking about, but.
Yeah, no, the one that they do with PEF is separate. We have they've never even asked us for our input for that. So we have nothing to do with that. I'm doing just a week-long thing just to kind of get juniors started on their whole college application. I have not put together my calendar for August, but I am thinking, because I'm not driving a student up to school this year. I will actually be here for the first day of school, which I haven't for the last 2 years, only last 2 years. Last year and the year before. I'm thinking of doing maybe something similar to what PV High did. Joanne and I share a lot of information, and we share different things we're working on or doing at our school. So we do have very similar looking college career centers. I will say that. But she did kind of a drop in, hey, you've probably started it. What do you need help with? Come on in and drop by. So I may do something like that before school. I just have not put that together. I have no idea what it would look like. My ideal scenario would be to maybe have a couple admissions reps here to help students work on that. But I just haven't gotten that far into my schedule. If I get to June 30th, I will be happy right now. So
Perfect. Yes, no problem. I think the next one you already touched on, so we can skip over it unless you want to add something. How would a student use a CCC each year of high school, services offered and timelines for each year? I think you went through that. So
I
wanna
did a
add?
little bit, but I would just expand a little more. So, freshman year, we always get really eager freshmen the first couple weeks of school. Hi, Mrs. Arico, I really want to go to this school. What do I have to do? What I always tell freshmen is I really want you to focus on building good study habits. Number one, that's it. Work on your grades and build your study habits, because that is the number one thing that will get you into school is your transcript. Nothing else. That is number one. There's no way around it. I'm telling everybody now, there's no secret sauce. There's no secrets. It is your transcript. So build good study habits. Make sure you're trying different things at high school. Try to get involved. Find things you like to do. That's all I want the freshmen to do. Some keep coming and talking to me, we make friends, but that's really what I offer for our freshmen. Sophomores, still the same thing. I want them to do that, but I also want them to think, what are things you want to do after you're done here at Peninsula? When you wake up after graduation from high school, what are your plans? Where are you going? Are you going to work? Are you going to Scrock? Are you going to community college? Are you going to a 4-year? What are your plans? What are your expectations? And more importantly, I'd like to talk to them about, what are your family's expectations? Have you had those conversations? Start having them now. Talk to your parents, talk to your siblings. What are they doing? What are their thoughts? Because honestly, without your family support, you have to have your family support whatever decision you make. So that's kind of what I talk to sophomores about, a little bit more, not necessarily specific careers, but areas of interest, things they like to do. For juniors, like I said, I kind of went through all of the things we have. I'm starting to meet with juniors individually right now. I've actually had some meetings with them in the fall. Some like to start even earlier than others, but I will start when juniors come in, I meet with them and we start talking about what's their timeline, what are their schools, their search. I have some kids that will come in and visit me every month, the second half of junior year, and every week, the first semester of senior year. And I work with them on soup to nuts, everything. I read essays, I look at them. Like I tell them, I do not read your essay for grammar. I am only reading it for what is the idea you're trying to convey? What are you communicating about yourself? Where can you dig a little bit deeper? Where I want you to go back, but that's really all I'm talking about with essays. So I always tell them, don't expect me to correct your spelling. Don't expect me to, check on your grammar, because what I want you to focus on is what are you communicating. And then seniors, right now we're in happy land with our seniors because most of them are getting yeses or deferrals. There are some no's, I will give you that, but not a lot of them. February and March becomes our sad time. That's where a lot of them get the no's that they weren't expecting, or no to the number one school of their choice. What's today? Today's the 18th. Tomorrow's going to be a happy day. USC will reveal their acceptances. They don't deny anyone tomorrow. They are either accepted or deferred. So tomorrow's a happy day. But talking to students about that disappointment, whether it be their own, whether it be what they think their parents will say. And I'm going to be really honest with all of you. Most kids are more concerned with how their parents are going to take the no than they are about it. It's heartbreaking when they are completely a wreck, but most parents are like, okay, no problem. Let's move on. What's the next thing? So I think they get really caught up in disappointing parents. So, if you have seniors, give them extra hugs from now until the end of March. No matter what, you love them. It does not define them. They've done everything they could. They brought it all to the table. Our kids are amazing. So that's kind of our sad time. And then April is celebrate time. They're making those choices. I will say the majority of students make them easily, but we always have the handful coming in every day. I just don't know what to do. And my first response is congratulations, you have that option. Congratulations, you get to make a choice. Now let's sit down and talk about the nitty gritty. And I will tell you, I can see on the face of the kids what school they want to be at. I never tell them what I see until after they make the decision. And 9 times out of 10, they make the decision that's right for them. Every once in a while, we have a kid that's still struggling up until the day they leave, and maybe even through the first semester. And sometimes they stay there, and a lot of times they leave. So it does happen, and it's okay. And like I tell them, what's the worst case scenario? You transfer? That's okay. It's okay. And so that's kind of where we are with seniors. Yeah, so that's everyone.
Okay, I'm going to combine a couple. What do you think people should take more advantage of that the CCC offers that they don't? Although you've given a really thorough info on everything, but just if you have an opinion on that. And then does the CCC establish and maintain relationships with colleges, and in what capacity?
Oh, we absolutely maintain relationships with every college. That is how we have a college fair with 50 schools coming. And last year it was 60. I get from every rep that I invite, I would say 90% of them respond with a yes or no, because if they can't be here, it's because they literally physically cannot be here, not because they don't want to be here. We have, I think, really great relationships with our colleges. It's through the admissions reps, and for USC, it's all the way up to the dean level. We have those relationships because our students come with great questions to the college fair and to college rep meetings. They love meeting our students. Nancy and I go to several events every year. That's where we start those relationships, meeting those representatives. Oh, what else, Nancy? What am I missing? We call them continuously with questions for our kids.
I would say too, maybe people don't understand the volume of colleges that come through the CCC in the fall. You know, we see almost 100 colleges, pretty much from the beginning of September to the end of October, 6 periods a day. We have a different college coming in 4 to 5 days a week. So, you know, and Julie chats with every single one of them, finds out, you know, what's new in your school. So yeah, I think people don't really understand the scope of how many colleges we talk to every year.
Thank you. And I guess the last one may be more directed to you, Julie, or maybe both of you, and then we'll get into FAFSA. Where can we find information on how many students get accepted in which college in previous years? Is this a book that's maintained with stats and information in the CCC? Can you tell us a bit more about that information?
All of the information is on School Links, everybody. That's where that book comes from. So I have kids that come in and want to see the book. The book is a snapshot from the end of June, and we don't even always have the final places for all our seniors. So the better place to get the information is from School Links. It literally tells you the number of students that applied, the number who got accepted, and the number who actually went, who matriculated to that school by year. And it has the average GPAs. It has all that information for the schools where we have a lot of applicants, which is what the kids are looking for. For a school where we don't have a lot of applicants, we do have the book. And so you can look at that, but even that's going to be generic information, because if it's less than 10 students, I give an average. I don't give the students information. So you're better off just getting that information online. What the book does have is that School Links does not. It has information if the kids were in sports, if they volunteered, if they did an internship, how many APs and how many honors classes. But honestly, all that, the AP and honor classes, you can see that on School Links, because you can look at all the GPAs, unweighted and weighted. So you get a sense of where those differences are for the acceptances. And in terms of extracurriculars, the bottom line is we all know we have to do them. So does it matter if the kid, you know, every kid is different, and there's no one school where you'll see, oh, everyone was a leader or everyone volunteered. It's, if you're doing what you love, then that's what makes the difference. So the number of hours you volunteer, there's no magic number. There's no magic number of how many sports you have to be on, or if you need to be on sports, or if you need to be involved in the arts. If you're doing what you love and you can let them know how it has shaped you as a human being, then that is what the colleges want to see.
Thank you. Nancy, should I say the best for last? No, I can't say that.
Actually, before we start on Nancy, could I just go back to one question? Because I don't know if I answered it, and I want Nancy to answer too. And that was, what do we think people don't take advantage of in the CCC? And I say it with a grain of salt. It's almost everything. I think School Links is underutilized. So that's number one. Our events, we could always have more people. But I say that with a grain of salt, because at College Fair last year, we had over 800 attendees. And I want to let you know, of those 8, we had 23 students not from Peninsula. So it was 99%, 99.8% probably Peninsula students at that event. So I say it with a grain of salt, because I know it was huge and it was loud, but that's what makes it exciting. That's what makes kids want to go, and it makes the reps want to be back. So that is why I received no's, literal, I am so sorry I can't be there on the date of your College Fair. Please do not lose my name. We want to be back, because we had such a huge response to it. So I do say it with a grain of salt that yes, we can always have more, because even though we had 800, there were still 1,500 students that didn't come and could have benefited and could have gotten information. So I would love it 100% of all of our students could come to everything. And I had enough speakers and colleges for them to talk to and everything. But I know that's never going to happen, but that's kind of what I think.
I would add that I think parents and kids should also understand that we always put our activities in the principal's update. We have something almost every Sunday in the principal's update. We're always surprised how many phone calls or emails we get that say, you know, are you doing something? Yeah, do you like listen, you know, read the daily bulletin and the principal's update? Julie also maintains our page on the website. She's in there all the time, almost every day, updating. So if you ever want to know anything going on in the CCC, check out our webpage on the school website and our calendar, and it'll tell you when it is and how to register for it. And usually there's a description of what's going on too. So I think for me, that's the thing that frustrates me the most, is people will say, well, I didn't know that that was happening. Well, where do you get your news? Because it's out there all the time.
Yes, thank you. Okay, we're gonna move on to financial aid. Nancy, what is FAFSA? Maybe we just even explain exactly what that stands for, what it is. And if you know you don't qualify for any aid, do you have to fill it out if you also don't want loans?
So FAFSA, as I mentioned, stands for Free Application for Federal Student Aid. If you want financial aid from a college or any financial help, whether that means based on your income or just sometimes even merit aid based on your students' grades, you go on the school website and look up what they request for financial aid. And there's 99.9% of the time, there's two things that they're going to, either one or two things they're going to ask for. One of them is that a family completes a FAFSA, the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. And the other one for mainly private schools is what they call a CSS profile. And that's done through College Board. And it's like the FAFSA. It's asking for financial and demographic information about a family. So if you're looking at Boston University or USC and you would like help paying that $80,000 a year tuition, you're going to look up financial aid, you're going to look up scholarships, and they're going to tell you, we want a FAFSA completed and or a CSS profile and the date that they need to be completed. So that's what a FAFSA is, the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. Is it important to do it? I like to consider FAFSA as a sort of insurance policy, because once their deadline passes, and let's say it's June 15th or in California, it's April 2nd. Once that deadline passes and something happens between that date and the end of the next school year, financially with your family, you've passed the FAFSA deadline and the college loses a lot of options on how to help out your family. It takes about 15 minutes to complete a FAFSA. Your taxes automatically come over from the IRS. It's super simple, and it gives you that insurance that if, you know, in some way your financial situation changes, you can get some help from the school. Or if you're just looking for financial aid in the first place, they're gonna request that you fill it out. If you don't fill it out and they want it, then they're not giving you anything. Merit aid isn't always tied to a FAFSA or a CSS profile, but there are some schools that do tie it. And so part of that due diligence to figure out how to get money from a school is figuring that out. So just do it. It's, you know, it's super easy to do. There's really not a reason not to do it. You've already filed your taxes. Government agencies already have your information. So if it's a privacy concern, it's really not asking for anything that isn't already in the federal system. And so what happens is you complete the FAFSA and you tell the FAFSA what colleges the child is going to apply to, and portions of that FAFSA go to that school, and then the school will review it and create a financial aid package for your student. They do not go by what the federal government says is your level of need. They use their own formula. So even if you complete a FAFSA and the FAFSA says that, you know, your family is expected to pay $15,000 a year toward your tuition, that doesn't mean that's what the school will formulate your financial need on. So I have a lot of people that get scared off by that number. Do not consider that. That's just for the federal portion of that aid. So that's FAFSA.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Heather, I think we can stop the recording now. That's the official part. And I wanted to open it up for anyone that had questions. I did see a raised hand at the start, so hopefully you still have your question. If there's any questions, go ahead and raise your hand or just unmute yourself.